Hey, it's Chris. Lilac lepidolite has been just kind of trying to get my attention all day. I haven't really stopped to connect to it, and so I felt this thing in the back of my mind. I've got a handful here. I'll show you if you haven't seen this stone before. It's a type of lepidolite that I think Robert Simmons first kind of put out there, um, which has a slightly different quality than the normal lepidolite, but it's just been kind of nagging at me. So I decided to just get a handful, connect to it, and we'll do kind of a meditation slash class slash exploration of what this stone has to offer. I've actually taught a class on this stone before, but there's, I guess, new lessons or a new message showing up for me right now. The first thing that really kind of just jumps out is this idea of awakening, of spiritual awakening. Now that's a word that gets used a lot today. Everyone talks about awakenings, but no one really talks about what does that mean. When you say I had an awakening, what are you awakening from? And what are you awakening into? What is the nature of the old world and what is the nature of that new world? And so we want to kind of look at that to better understand awakening. And the second, I guess, word or phrase that's showing up for me when I hold these is divine presence. Again, what does that mean? You can have presence in life. What does it mean to have divine presence in life? And so as we begin to just kind of maybe explore these ideas as much as you can, feel those for yourself. And so I think that awakening very much ties into what divine presence really is. And so if you think about your life, most people have one experience of life. They're often maybe feel stuck or trapped, or like life is just a certain way. I am just a certain way. Work is just a certain way. The kids are just a certain way. My family is just a certain way. Everything is just a certain way. And when you're in that world, it feels very, very defined, very cut off from your power. And oftentimes spiritual people, when they're in that experience of life, that they have this feeling, this knowing that there is something more. There is something else out there. There's something beyond what I'm currently experiencing that I just feel drawn to, I feel called to, but maybe don't know how to get there. They don't know what that is, and so they begin this process of seeking. Well, maybe I should meditate because I hear that does something. Maybe I should do yoga. Maybe I should work with crystals. Maybe I should. There's all these things that we go and explore, trying to satisfy that nagging feeling that there's something beyond all of this. And so what causes us to be in that stuck world? When you get right down to it, well, it's the mind, but where does the mind come from? And the mind is really, it's coming from our past. We had an experience yesterday, a year ago, 30 years ago. And in that experience, we didn't like it. And so we made up a story, we made up a judgment about the way the world is, about the way we are, about the way people are. And that story, that judgment became this filter through which we began to view reality. So I've told the story in the Smoky Quartz class about the day I became shy, where these kids were laughing at me, I made this judgment about the way people were. I said, guys are jerks and girls don't understand me. And in that new reality, there's actually, when you really go into those moments, you can feel this veil just kind of falling over that definitionless place we all come from. And so as we go through life, we take on more and more of these veils, these ideas, these beliefs, these filters about the way things are. And we eventually take on so many filters that we no longer see any kind of possibility. We become so defined by our past that there's only one possible expression of life for us, and so that's that trapped feeling. We know how the world is. We know how other people are. We know just how we are and what we can and can't do. And so whenever you have an awakening, so lilac lepidolite, it's one of these stones that's prompting you to just let go of all that stuff and awaken. Awaken from the past. Awaken from the illusion. Awaken from the suffering. Return to that place that we all started from, that we all come from. I mean, when you look at a newborn baby, all they are is light. All they see is just awe and wonder. They live in a world where anything is possible. When you talk to a kid and you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a fireman, a race car driver, whatever they want. They want to be all of it because they have no definition. They're in that state of awakened consciousness. And so awakening really is awakening from the past, awakening from limitations that come from the past, awakening from the monkey mind and everything that it's telling you you can and can't do, and awakening into the present moment. And when you look at the present moment, when you begin to just go deeper into the present moment, you discover that it is the moment of creation. It is the divine moment. And the more fully in the present you are, the more of that presence that you begin to have, that more of that divinity that's within you begins to express itself. So that's the journey of awakening. It's remembering that place you came from, that place of light, that place of possibility. When you regain that connection, people can feel that. They feel the shift in you. They can feel the presence in you. When you really begin to allow yourself to have that divine presence, and that just means being aware that not just that you're a divine being, but that we're all divine beings. When you begin to see the divinity in everyone and in everything, your heart just begins to emanate this light. And so that's really for me where this stone is taking you to. This lilac lepidolite, I'll show you that again. It's just saying, will you let go of everything? One of the things about the past, if you'll right now just kind of think to maybe something bad that happened to you. Maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was a year ago, maybe it was 10 years ago, that thing that's just kind of colored your experience for too long. Recall that incident and then just realize that it's over. It's done. It doesn't exist anymore. No matter what thing happened, no matter who did what, no matter who was at fault, no matter what scenario you found yourself in, no matter how much pain it caused, it's done. So feel that it's complete. It's in the past. And the past doesn't exist. There is only this moment of creation. And so the past, it's only a story that we keep in our minds. It has no physical substance to it. You can't point to the past. It's completely illusory. And so all those things that have been defining you for maybe decades, just realize that all of them, lilac lepidolite is saying, just let them go. Be glad they're over with. Be glad that you're still here, that you made it through all of that. Maybe on some level that brought out that much more wisdom in you, that it brought out that much more compassion in you. You can now shine your light that much more brighter for having gone through that thing. But whatever that thing was, it is done, it's gone, it's over, and now there is only this moment. The deeper you go on that journey, the more you just let go into the present moment, the more you awaken into this one perfect divine experience that's happening right now, the more of that presence you begin to embody. So I think that's what Lilac Lepidolite was wanting me to put out there today. Just connect to that for me, to remember that place and to share that with you, to anything you've got going on that's done, to just say, you know, it's done. Let's move on. So I'll open it up for just Q&A for a few minutes if anyone's want to ask any questions. I see some comments. Hey, everybody. Hey, Jamie, Amber, Karen, Carrie. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining live. Cool. I don't see any questions, but it looks like some of you guys needed that message today. So I'll hang out for just another minute. Open it up for questions on any subject in the world of crystals, spiritual awakening, meditation, you know, whatever you want. All right, I don't see any questions coming in. Does it sometimes take, oh, Carrie says, does it sometimes take more than once? And so are you talking about letting something go? Does it take more than once? If that's the case, before you can really let it go, yeah. And so just like the present moment is a journey, letting go can sometimes be a journey. It's like we've defined ourselves by a moment for so long that to let go of maybe 20% of it, it's going to feel like this completely strange, foreign, crazy world because we've held on for so long. If you've ever, there's an exercise that I did as a kid where it's like you push against the frame of a door and you just hold it for like 2 minutes, and then you step out from the door and suddenly your arms are like wanting to do this kind of thing. So it's kind of like that. Like we get so accustomed to something that it's just completely foreign to be any other way, and so we stretch into whatever new experience that we'll allow ourselves to. But just like the present moment, you can always go deeper. Sometimes with letting something go, you can always go deeper. Generally what it is there is some resistance to that event that you're still holding on to. There's something about it that you're not wanting to experience. So like if someone is, I'll go back to my classic example, the people laughing at me, I can let go a little bit, but in that moment of maybe feeling rejected, it's like, how much rejection will you allow yourself to experience? In that moment, I made up that there was a lot of rejection. And so until I was able to experience all of the rejection that was there, it stayed. Is that making sense? So it's a matter of how deep into experiencing everything that you're pushing down. When you experience it all, it's gone. If you're just willing to experience, you know, maybe half of it now, you're like happy to deal with half of that. Okay, and then you let half of it go, and there's this whole new level of freedom. It's a whole new reality, but maybe there's a little bit more that you'll get later on. So it's completely up to you. It can happen in one, like rip the Band-Aid off, or you can do it as a slow process. Jennifer says, best stones to relieve stress. I would do Lilac Lepidolite. This is good for just letting go and relaxing and calming. And I mean, you can take this, it's got lithium in it. I mean, it'll just take you into just that completely stress-free place. Of course, Smoky Quartz, another one of my favorites for just letting stuff go, grounding stuff out. What do you think about Amethyst? Amethyst, it's another great stone. It's a different vibration. I mean, it's still in that purple spectrum, but I'm just kind of like, you know, imagine some amethyst here. It's very purifying. So if you've got heavy stuff in your space and you connect to a piece of amethyst, the amethyst, like, almost, to me, it changes the heavy stuff. It like raises the vibration of the heavy stuff until it turns into light. Whereas lepidolite, it just kind of helps you let go of the heavy stuff. Does that make sense? Two very different frequencies. They may end up doing the same thing or very similar things, but they go about it in different ways. Best stone to open heart chakra other than rose quartz. I posted, oh, it's right here, actually. You know, I'll bring it over with the beta Amorian quartz. Let me see if I can hold this out. So right in there, this is a piece of dioptase. And let me get this on camera looking right. And this is a stone that is just, it's forgiveness. I mean, forgiveness is one of those emotions that will just blast the heart open. So here, let me give it maybe a little close up there. That's still not the best focus, but that's called dioptase. This just, I mean, you'll feel the heart melting and blooming when you connect to this energy, and it's really about forgiveness. And forgiveness, it's one of these words we have maybe ideas about, like the other person and they did something to me and I've got to get, you know, it's justice and all this stuff. That's not what forgiveness is about. That's not what the open heart is about. Forgiveness is really about a gift you give yourself. If someone did something to me and I'm just mad at them and angry at them, that doesn't do anything to the other person. Like, it doesn't affect them that I'm mad. It doesn't affect them that I'm upset. It doesn't affect them that I'm holding this grudge for 10 years. So when I forgive them, when I realize that this is just a person who's acting out of fear, and I can see that in them, this compassion arises within me, I'm able to forgive them. Not say that they were right, not say that there shouldn't be consequences, anything like that. It's just when I forgive them, it gives myself peace, and my heart opens that much more. So, and that's the journey dioptase will invite you on. One of my favorite heart stones. My other one would probably be morganite. That's just like this divine love stone. I think I don't see where mine is right now, but any of those will just blast the heart open. Let's see. Diane says, "What new wisdom did you learn on your Colorado trip?" I mean, the big lesson for me there in Colorado, this was actually after we left Colorado and went into New Mexico to do the treasure hunting, was, I mean, just imagine being on a treasure hunt. Imagine being on an adventure, doing something that there are no rules. It's completely moving into the unknown. And there was a feeling in that experience that just arose in me of, you know, this is all this just exciting adventure. And I mean, I knew it was going to be fun, but like when I just felt that new level of adventure, it just, I mean, it invigorated me, it empowered me, it cleared my mind, it opened my heart, got my body just nice and energized. And so it's taking that experience, taking that energy, taking that wisdom, and then just bringing it into life, bringing it into your day-to-day life. When you can recapture that kind of feeling, like I'm just on this big adventure right now. I don't know what's going to happen. You just become powerfully present and free. And so that's I think that's the big thing that came back with me from that trip. Let's see. Can you recommend stones for health? More importantly, arthritis. I'm very new to crystals, Claire. Let me answer that off after this. I want to like go in and kind of just feel where you're at and see what comes to mind. But it's hard to do that during the Facebook Live. What stone is best to relieve anger? Can you tell me more about that, Melissa? Because and again, it's like, well, there's no best stone for anything. I mean, there's stones that are good for things, but every condition is very unique to the individual. And so, I mean, someone may come to me and say, like, what's the best stone for this headache? Well, for you, maybe it's amethyst. For someone else, maybe it's malachite. For someone else, maybe it's jet. For someone, I mean, it's very dependent on the person. Our energy body, people tend to think of I've got a chakra that's blocked, but we're not this neat series of blocks. We're like this mess of all kinds of emotions and weird stuff and grudges, and like we've pushed this stuff all around our energetic body, and things are very interconnected. So there may be something in your third eye that's affecting, you know, your leg, or I mean, everything's weird and intertangled. It can be that way. It can be lined up like you're having foot problems and you've got a grounding problem in the root chakra. I mean, it can be like that, or it can be very complicated. So it's it just depends on the person, what you need in this moment. Forgiveness is for me, exactly. It has nothing to do with the other person. They don't even have to know that you've gone through this. But what's so cool is that oftentimes when you go through forgiving someone, they will change. The way they occur to you, the things they say to you will have shifted. I've seen this so many times that when I do that kind of inner work of forgiving someone, it's like suddenly they become such an awesome person. I didn't talk to them, nothing happened, but I did that forgiveness work. And then that gets reflected in the world outside of me. Suddenly they're loving. Suddenly they've let go of whatever they had going on, just because I've let go of whatever I had going on. Julie says New Mexico is awesome. Yes, it is. I can't wait to go back. Carrie says black tourmaline works for my arthritis, so you may want to check that out. I'll go back and find those comments. The people who ask for specific stones, I'll go back and kind of see where you're at and give you my recommendation. Let's see. Okay, cool. So I think that's all the questions. If you guys have more questions that come up, feel free to just add them under the video and we'll take a look at those. But just had to jump on and answer the call of Lilac lepidolite. It's been talking to me all day. Here again, I'll show you a piece. Spiritual awakening. You are a divine being. You come from the light. You are the light. Remember that. And be that. I mean, divine presence is just being your own unique expression of light. What does it mean to be just fully, radiantly you in this present moment? Whatever that means, feel that, be that. The world needs more of that. Bye.